Hello, welcome to another dyno video of a French car. Rare occurrence, isn't it? This is a Renault Clio 1.2 Grand. Well, it says it's a 1.2, it's actually not. I've looked at the figures, I've looked at the stats. It's actually a 1.1. 1149cc, that's a 1.1. I don't care what Renault says. It's a 1.1. That means it's in contention with a certain Peugeot 106. Dump It is also a 1.1. Also has a book figure of 60 horsepower, which this has, well, 60 or 58, depending on where you read it. It's a 1.1, 8-valve, inline, overhead cam engine. It is as basic as the Renault engine's got in this era. This is about as this is bottom of the barrel. As it should be, because this is the first car of a lad called Liam. This is his first car. This is like delightfully retro for a first car, isn't it? Oh. In an era where a Y-Reg Clio is retro. Oh man, so old. So Liam's watched some of the French car videos, variously, the dynos that I do, and he wants to stick his mighty Clio on there, but he doesn't realise this is a grudge match already. It now is a grudge match. I'm putting it against Dump It. Dump It, the Peugeot 106, as you may remember, had a book figure of 60 horsepower, but actually mustered, once I'd pratted around and taken a pipe off, 70 horsepower. That's a 15% increase. That's pretty good. Will this do the same? I don't think so. I like these Renault Clios because they got plastic wings. My mate Ashley, she used to have one of these. She'll remember. We used to push her wings. It's not a euphemism. She had a Clio. So let's have a look under the bonnet of this powerhouse. Must know how to do it. There we go, because I've already done it. No gas struts. That's a mark down to this car already. So, well, it's an engine. Oh, it's got a K&N panel filter, or a sticker for a K&N panel filter. So did this go in the modified class? No, because panel filters do nothing. Otherwise, yeah, it's quite clean. The engine's kind of quite central, actually, for a... I'm used to engines being quite far over, but it's... Actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's all the stuff on top of it. I don't know anything about this engine, but what I can tell you are the book figures. If I look at this phone, because I've written them down. So... 58 PS, 57 horsepower, but at the same time, that could quite easily be 60. It depends. One of them says, sorry, there's a picture on my wall in there of Christina Applegate, and I thought it was some random woman stood in my office watching me. That's just creeped me out. Right. Yeah, so, yeah, depending on where you look at it, 58, 60 horsepower. It says 58 was for an Elise model. 60 was for an RN. I can't imagine they've got different engines, so it's probably just how they've been recorded. 5,250 RPM. Quite a low peak figure. This is probably going to be a little bit more like Dump It, where it's not a revvy peaky engine. I imagine this is going to be more mid-rangey like Dump It. Torque figure, actually not too bad. 68 pound-foot, which is 93 Newton meters. See? I'm thinking of other people. At 2,500 revs, peak torque at 2,500 for a little engine like this. That's actually quite good. It's not a lot of torque, but it's doing it low down. This one you would think would have a slightly different power output to a standard car because it has a fart box, but not so. That's a back box. That's it. It makes no difference to the rest of it. The bowl. This man likes his GT racing. You know, it's how Renault Clios have a little spoiler on the windscreen seal. Wipers that would give hub nut a woody. So if you own a Renault Clio 1.2, or basically, if you're a youth and you own a Renault Clio 1.2, firstly, your car's a 1.1. Secondly, this is how much power they make. here we go. Oh, interesting. Well, you'll be the judge of that. That is actually quite interesting. So it might smooth out with another run. Although it's not cold, I mean, he's just driven a fairly long distance here. Bit squirrely at the bottom here. This is the torque. The torque output of the wheels is what the dyno is actually recording. So that number there is fact. This graph is fact. This is estimate. This is the power. Everything else there is estimate, but that is fact. So the graph, the torque output is quite squirrely low down, which obviously affects the power. But it's sorted itself out here. This looks more like I would expect a little 8-valve engine to look. Pokier than it says, 66. So it's doing a dump it. In fact, did dump it do 66 first time round? I think it might have done. So I shall give it another go. But yeah, that's pretty sound, to be honest. Apart from this little bit here, that could be maybe Lambdas or something like that. I don't know if they still function when it's got full throttle, but it's certainly not going to be wideband, is it? Okay, well, let's run it again. Let's see. But I think he's going to be happy with that already, because this lad is 18 years old, and his insurance company have billed him for a 58 horsepower Renault Clio, and it is a standard Renault Clio. That filter and that exhaust will not make a difference on this car. I promise you, they will not make a difference on this car. Taking the filter out might make a difference, but no, it won't make a difference over a standard filter. And yeah, they billed him for a 58 horsepower Clio, and he's actually got a 66 horsepower Clio, and it's standard. Right, that was run 2. Is that exactly the same? Well, it's ironed the kinks out, so it's obviously, yeah, it's a temperature thing. So the kinks are fine. That's a slight kink, but it's nothing to really worry about. Otherwise, that's a pretty good graph. That's a broad torque curve. What's the gearing like? It feels quite short. So the gearing is quite short, which means 181 pound-foot at the wheels across... Well, hang on, no, that's 180 there, so let's say 170. More than 170 pound-foot at the wheels from 2,000 to 5,000 revs. That's actually quite good. The torque at the wheels is amplified, so the engine is producing 75, but obviously the gearbox is gearing it down. Imagine pulleys. You can use a series of pulleys to pick things up that you wouldn't normally be able to lift. Well, it's the same with the gearbox. It's making more torque at the wheels than the engine is. If the engine was directly connected to the wheels, well, you wouldn't move. But yeah, that's actually not bad. It's not, I mean, it's not as good as that, is it? It doesn't have a dump it pipe either that I can see. I'm not going to let it cheat by taking the dump it pipe off and allow it to have the panel filter. But yeah, no, there's no dump it pipe. So 66 is what she's got. Ow. So there you go, Mr. Liam and everybody else who frequents McDonald's car parks in 1.2 Clios. You didn't have 58 or 60. You potentially had 66 as a best guess on a rolling road chassis dynamometer, which has to use correction factors to take the power figure recorded at the wheels, which is actually a correction, or actually a calculation of the power figure, of the torque figure recorded at the wheels, and come up with a load of numbers and stuff like that. So yeah, that's oh, done it roll nice. Look at that, 10 horsepower loss. The beauty of skinny little wheels and little gearboxes and little cogs and lightweight engineering. It's brilliant. 66 horsepower from this 1.1 litre Renault Clio. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not as good as Dump It, but not bad at all. I shall add this to the list. There is a couple of lists on the website. There's the modified class, production class. I'm going to put this in production because the mods don't make a difference. Basically, there's a league table on there. Cars are sorted into order of percentage over standard horsepower gained. So it's not the highest figure, it's the highest percentage, which means I get to win because Dump It gets to go at the top. Right. That's it, I think. Yes, that's it.